Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the OilyView, and where we chat about oils, right? So this is my good friend Alex Rohr Gittleson, and she is been a good friend for I don't know a year and a half or so, But
Recent.
we've been working together. And we're also doing some personal things together, which is fun. What are we doing next in June?
Wow, which one?
The art.
Oh, the art class.
Class.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll go into it more, but one of the things I started doing a few years ago to come over anxiety, which we're going to talk about today, was like, okay, what are the things I've always wanted to do in life that I always say, oh, I wish I could do that. Ooh, but I can't do that.
Oh.
And so that's where the art classes came up.
I
love going to them at least once a month. And so you get to go with me.
Oh,
and I'm excited about that. Yeah,
I know. And
it's going to be a lot of fun.
I've been in art classes, but I haven't gone to one that is, I don't know, just with a friend or, doing it with your spouse or something, outside. And anyways, I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
So she's also owner and co-founder with her husband Dave of CBD Life. Yep. And that's right here locally in Carlsbad.
Yeah. So we have the physical store in Carlsbad and then our online website as well where people can buy the stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. So she's also been using, personally the essential oils.
Yeah.
So, we have different tools that we can use to help us. What do we call that? Our self-care toolbox, right?
Yeah.
So different things that are all going to help support us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love the whole idea of, I coined it like the self-healing lifestyle,
Yes.
So really, what are like the different components in life that's helping balance, the mind, body, and spirit out to help with things like nervousness or anxiety or other issues, but just natural approaches to it.
Right. I love really natural. Good. Yeah, because then we don't have usually side effects that go along with it. Yeah. So, it's all good. So our topic of discussion today is mental fatigue, and that is a reduction in behavioral stability. It's in our performance. It's affecting our mood, our activity in our daily life. Some of the causes are extended periods of demanding mental effort. You're just sitting at your desk and you're just honed in on the computer and you're not blinking. You're not changing gears and, doing something else. Prolonged work days or periods of time. Lack of sleep. Poor diet. Dehydration. High levels of stress and emotion come into play too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some of the symptoms that we experience are our inability to just concentrate, difficulty learning, we have mistakes, short-term memory impairment. That's a big one, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
A brain fog.
Yeah.
Delayed decision-making abilities. So, another one is irritability.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know for me, that's probably a big one. If I just have some mental fatigue, I feel a little bit irritable.
Yeah, and overwhelmed. Just
overwhelmed
about everything. Like you can't handle anything, even like the tiniest little bits.
Yeah.
Or tiniest little thing that's going on. You just feel like this overwhelmment of, it's like this, it just explodes into a bigger thing.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Yeah, when the mental fatigue gets so big, you can then have ultimately physical and emotional just upset.
Breakdowns.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
So what do we do?
So what do we do?
What do we do about it? We have this problem, so what do we do?
Right. So I wanted you to share first what you do to help all these symptoms of mental fatigue.
Okay. Well, the big thing has been with the oils, but we'll get to that in a second. So just a quick little background about for me. I had always, from a very young age, I don't remember a lot of the details now. When you overcome something, you no longer really can even think about what the details were.
Sure.
But I just had always remembered from a very young age, always just feeling, imbalanced and not focused and just kind of overwhelmed by either groups of people or loud noises or just those little things.
Yeah.
And as I got older and I got into a relationship being with a man that was very out there, and I call him the social chameleon because he can be anywhere and anywhere.
Or extrovert.
Right?
Yeah. And you're probably more of an introvert.
More of an introvert. Like, how do I balance this out, right? And so in that discovery of self-healing lifestyle, I discovered that it's all about balance and balancing, whether it's hormones, whether it's an emotional component, whether it's the diet and exercise and sleep rhythms, basically the opposite of everything you just said, that were the causes of that. So I started going down this journey and realized that I sensed that I wasn't going to find one thing to fix everything. It was more about looking at the entire lifestyle and seeing what things weren't working for me, and then what things could I add or change so that they could work for me. So at an emotional level, I discovered that things like meditation and mindset were very big. So I just practiced a variety of different meditation modalities. I started reading things like Louise Hay and Dr. Wayne Dyer about our mindset and in perspective of life. And it was just really amazing and empowering to know that I can change my mindset and perspective about any situation and be able to create a different situation. So that was a big one for me. The second thing in my discovery is I didn't even know this, but apparently heavy metals and toxins in our bodies and viral infections can actually be a huge contributor to mental fatigue, depression, and even PTSD. Huge.
Yes.
And I never thought of that.
And petrochemicals. That's petroleum.
The petroleum. Yeah. I never thought no. I mean, I didn't grow up around that. But now they're showing studies that a lot of the heavy metal toxins are being able to be passed down through the bloodlines.
I believe it. Yeah, a lot of things in the genes.
It's just in so deeply embedded, right?
Wow.
So then I started approaching things like, I brought the book, 'cause I'm a big visual person. I discovered Anthony Williams a few years ago. So he just goes really into depth about some of those, internal viruses and infections that we have, and heavy metals that could be contributing to things like anxiety or overwhelmment, right?
Great.
And so he just kind of goes into like herbs and supplements. So I started doing a lot of that. I would say the biggest thing I learned from him that I didn't know is that he attributes overwhelmness and anxiety and depression to low levels of glucose.
Ooh,
apparently, I didn't know this. Low levels of glucose.
Interesting.
So glucose is apparently the protective layer in our brains. It's really what protects us and kind of helps keep the brain healthy and coated. So when we think about overwhelmment, or when we're anxious, or when we have a trauma, we have a spike of cholesterol and adrenaline.
Yes,
right?
I know that.
Yeah, and so we need that in order to survive, right?
Fight or flight.
Exactly. But the neurotransmitters, how there's almost called like an electrical storm in the brain that happens, which, you're feeling that overwhelmment. The reason that more and more people are becoming sensitive to more and more things is because the glucose level is so low that you no longer have that protective barrier that can slow down the electrical storm, that can protect the tissues of the brain cells and stuff. So that was the biggest thing I learned from him. So, he goes into the book about just herb supplements and smoothies and juices that you can do to help support that. So that was another thing.
That's another thing I thought you were going to share. Do you have that?
I definitely do. So a couple of the things that I found personally really helped is taking L-glutamine, and just kind of replenishing the body with that. You can buy it in powdered form and put it in your smoothie or in your water. Another big one are the B vitamins. So the B complex and the B12.
Awesome.
Those are, this is like the lifeline.
I was going to touch on that too.
Exactly, with those.
So there's Super B as well in the Young Living products, and it has, so many things, niacin, all the vitamins and zinc and everything.
Exactly. And so the main purpose of that one is to really support the neural system. That's what the B complex and the B12, according to him, and what I have found has really helped. Another thing that's really helped is spirulina for helping me detox heavy metals. That was the biggest thing that I discovered, was that the heavy metals that I had in my brain were causing the migraines, and then they were triggering just overwhelmment and anxiety and stuff.
Look at that.
So I just things that I've learned, and experienced was another big one. And then the ester C was really important to helping recover from the damage that's done from long-term exposure and spikes to adrenaline and cholesterol, you know, from those situations.
Very interesting.
So yeah, those were some of the things that I had.
Tell me again, Anthony
Williams.
Is he a medical doctor?
No, he's not. He's not.
Is he?
He's considered a medical intuitive.
Okay.
So what he really does is he, through connection, he connects just through higher knowing, or people can call it, you know, spirit or creation or something like that. It's more through intuition and meditation. And he really goes into depth into a lot of the illnesses and a lot of the mystery things that are happening in our bodies, and then really touches upon truly what's going on, and then what are natural ways, right, and natural things you can do in order to help assist you in being able to relieve or even potentially heal some of those things that are going on.
Yeah, I know he's been really important in your life.
Huge. I mean,
yeah. So, and I just got a book from you, and I want to dive into that, but it's more on the thyroid.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. So it's his third book that he has, and now
this one is the third.
This is the first one.
That's the first one.
Yeah, this is his first one. This kind of just goes into the basics of it.
Okay.
And then he started writing. He's starting to take chapters and go more into depth.
Oh, that's what he's
people
doing.
Like the one that I shared with you is the thyroid.
Okay.
You know, because that's becoming a very big thing for women and for some men too, is thyroid issues.
Yeah.
So that's one thing.
I love it.
Yeah, and then of course the CBD stuff. I mean, that's my story. So of course that's another big one for me. Basically, the reason that CBD, I think, is becoming so popular and helping people with a variety of things like anxiety and nervousness is that we have a regulatory system in our bodies called the endocannabinoid system. And the system has receptors that are connected to everything emotional and physical in our bodies. So those transmitters and those receptors are connected to the neurotransmitters in their brain. They're connected to the immune system and so forth. So when someone consumes, so I just brought my little capsules that I really enjoyed taking. When someone consumes phytocannabinoids, which are plant-based, it goes into that system, and then the receptors already know where the imbalance is. We're talking about balance, right? So it's all really coming back to balance, to help balance out the overwhelming, to help balance the focus. So there's a lot of research that's really going into how the CB1 and CB2 receptors are connected to the different parts of the brain, and why they're showing great results in helping people with anxiety.
Okay.
And the main reasons is that it helps reduce, it lowers the heart rate, because when you're anxious and you're triggered, you just feel it all over the place, right? So it helps reduce the heart rate in that sense, so they can calm down. It also helps lower the blood pressure. I mean, you're talking about how you become like upset, right? When you're anxious.
Yeah.
So the blood pressure rises from that, right? So it helps lower the blood pressure, so you can kind of calm down for that. And then the third thing is that it regulates just the function and the communication within the neurotransmitters.
Okay.
So again,
we're talking a lot about neurotransmitters in the brain, and I wanted to talk about water intake.
Yeah.
Because I'm blown away by water alone, you know, helping with neurotransmitters.
Exactly. I mean, that's where it comes from. The neurotransmitters is really what's being involved when you're talking about anxiety and nervousness. I mean, that's the communication.
Right.
You know, there's something going on in my environment I'm not comfortable with, and then there's just like this fire going on, you know.
You know what, there was something else that that is just coming to mind, and I had to bring it up because it talked about neurotransmitters and serotonin. It's a study done in March of 2011. The British Journal of Nutrition discovered that, well, that had to do with probiotics, so that's another thing that I was going to bring up. But it produced beneficial physiological effects and significantly decreased distress. But then when I was going to bring up the stomach being a second brain.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have your brain, you have your stomach, and they've called it the second brain. And so they believe that this is because your gut and your brain contain significant amounts of neurotransmitter serotonin, right? And then it is associated with mood. Yeah. So that's when you get kind of irritable or cranky. That kicks in. Yeah. So that is a study in 2011 that kind of, and also my husband, I told him about this, and he said, that's why you have that gut feeling.
Exactly.
I'm
exactly.
Like, oh my gosh.
Totally.
I think that's so great that you actually picked up on that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's all connected, right? So it all comes back to like just balance. Like, what are the tools that we can use, you know, to help bring just the body and the mind back to balance, so you're not feeling this overwhelmment or this anxiety.
Yeah.
You can feel like you can actually do something about it versus feel like you're being a victim to the situation.
There you go. I like that. That's very, very good. Yeah. Instead of being a victim, just be proactive.
Exactly.
And then just
have your tools.
Yeah, have your tools and, you know, really think here, do I need to make some lifestyle changes, right?
Yeah. I would agree with that.
So, gosh, I have some stuff too that I wanted to share.
Oil stuff. I love oils.
Yeah, love oils. I know. We both love oils. Well, you had peppermint. I thought you
Oh, yes, I did.
Peppermint.
So with CBD, so there's just CBD by itself.
Right.
But one of my favorite, and I forgot my bottle, but one of my favorite blends of CBD is a company that does herbal blends. Mm-hmm. And so they have a calm blend that has lavender, peppermint, and the CBD all mixed together.
All three mixed together.
All three mixed together. And that is an amazing little cocktail,
you
know, just for helping calm down. So obviously, I mean, that's where oils for me start playing in, is the blend between those two.
So peppermint itself enhances circulation to the brain.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
So that's kind of pretty interesting. Even though we kind of know about the mental focus, it kind of helps you focus. I don't know if I'm being FDA compliant right now.
This is just personal experience.
Yeah, this is just our personal experience.
Yeah, this is just kind of what I have discovered is that particular plant blend of the peppermint, the lavender, and the CBD, when I'm really in those trigger moments, really help. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just bringing the two worlds together that are my favorite things, which are essential oils and CBD.
Yeah.
And so just from that personal experience, that's my go-to. Yeah. You know, and just feedback that I've gotten from other people about that. And of course, Young Living is my go-to oils because those are my favorite oils and stuff, you know. So, I mean, that's just kind of, you know, what I have figured out in the process of everything is that it just really helps.
That the two together really
are
great
for me.
Great combination.
Exactly.
For you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So another thing that I learned was basil. Okay. It uplifts the mood. Yeah. I mean, it's very stimulating. Rosemary actually supports memory recall. Okay. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So, like, let's say you come into the room and you're like, wait a minute, what am I in here for? You know, I was like, I didn't know that. Oh, basil could help with that. Yeah. You know, or rosemary I should say. Yeah. Clarity, that promotes clear mind. Okay. It stimulates mental alertness and focus. Okay. So that's another good one. It has a beautiful blend of, I couldn't believe how many oils are in there. Cardamom, rosemary, peppermint, basil, bergamot, geranium, jasmine, lemon, palmarosa, Roman chamomile, rosewood, ylang ylang. Yeah, I mean, and it supports energy levels. Yeah. Right?
I love the name of it. Clarity.
I love the name of it. What it
does. Well, also because what we were talking about, you know, before we started was a lot of the times in those moments you can't focus. You're not clear on what can I do in this moment to really help me get out of this moment. So an oil that already literally says clarity on it, and it's this beautiful blend of all these essential oils. It's so nice to be able to like grab a bottle and just smell it or put it on you, and it just kind of, I feel, it brings in that vibration and that energy, because that's what we really sometimes want. Yeah. I mean, obviously we want to feel good in that moment, but with what we really want, I think, is just clarity of like, what just triggered me? What just happened? What do I need to do to move forward?
And so the oil will just kind of bring that focus.
Yes.
And just because, how does it work? It goes through our nose, and it affects our limbic part of our brain, which is the seat of our emotions.
Exactly.
I know we're always talking about that, but it's so true. That's why the oils are very effective.
Exactly.
Especially if they're pure therapeutic grade. Right?
Exactly. the good stuff.
Yeah, not just fragrance-oriented oils, right? Because, I mean, there's such a difference, right? There are two levels of the spectrum, right? Yeah. Fragrance, like a perfume, or versus therapeutic, pure. Yeah,
and that's what I love about the oils. It's just so easy, so quick. You smell it, and it's almost instantaneous in that moment.
Yeah,
you know, and so that's what I love so much about them and stuff. So I love that one. I'm going to look into that one.
Yeah. And then brain power is another one that promotes deep concentration. So like when you're just sitting down writing your goals out maybe, or or maybe you're, doing a paper.
I would have loved that in college.
Yeah, I was going to say, college.
I think that was like the highest stress moment ever.
Oh, I wish I had these tools way back. And, they've been around for a long time, like 25, 27 years, Young Living in itself. We're the pioneer. But, I mean, we didn't know at the time to use these tools.
Exactly.
And now as you get older, they become, more popular, introduced, because they were more popular in Europe. And now they're more popular. They're coming in the States. So
that's good.
So anyways, so another thing with the brain power is channeling your physical energy into mental energy.
Okay.
So that's another good thing. And then we were talking about petrochemicals. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this oil actually contains oils, a lot of oils that help dissolve the petrochemicals.
Oh, okay.
So isn't that interesting?
To help even with maybe the heavy metal detox stuff that's going on.
So tying in all that. So there's frankincense, sandalwood, cedarwood in there, which is enhancing the memory, supporting that. Melissa, did you know Melissa had a lemony scent?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. So, okay. All right. And that balances your emotions, that one. And then blue cypress is in there in circulation. We talked about circulation last time in our last one. So we talked about probiotics a little bit, the B vitamins, some tools we can use, meditation. Yep. I was also going to mention taking a short break or taking a nap. I know you say you like naps.
Yes. Oh, I love naps.
She loves that. But you might be able to take an hour nap, maybe?
Sometimes I can. Yeah, I've noticed even 10, 20 minutes, just like a power nap.
That's what I was going to say.
Is usually the better naps.
Yes. My husband has a situation where if he goes too long with the nap, he goes too long and he wakes up with a headache.
For me, it's like the time of day. So if I'm past let's say 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, if I'm going to wake up when it's dark, and so I just feel groggy, and so all I want to do is go back to sleep for the rest of the night.
That's right. Especially waking up at night, you're disoriented. You're like, wait, I should go back to bed.
I gotta go back to bed. But during the day is a big thing. I mean, that really comes from one of the big followers I follow is Abraham Hicks. And it's just energy and group consciousness. Yeah. And their solution to when you feel overwhelmed or you can't make a decision or anything like that is take a nap.
Take a nap.
Reset.
Yeah,
reset yourself. Just take a nap,
Yeah.
So I love taking naps.
I love it. She's a napper.
Yeah.
Okay. So one other thing that I want to mention was the Mayo Clinic. They did a study and they're stating that the average adult loses more than 80 ounces a day just of water, okay, through breathing, through sweating and eliminating waste.
I had no idea.
Me either. I was blown away. I'm like, just breathing? What? I'm losing water? I'm losing my fluids, So they also say the brain is the most important organ to keep fueled with that water because it doesn't store water. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And our body's made up of 70% of water. I think most of us know that, 70, 80%. And 85% of water is actually around the brain.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if you're not keep putting that water back in there?
Dehydration.
Dehydration and what that causes, your body to do. And, go into these modes of just not being able to concentrate, the brain.
The irritability and all that stuff that comes with it.
It's not getting enough hydration and the cells aren't able to get nutrients and it isn't able to detox either. Yeah. So lots of good stuff. So if you want to know any more about that article that I read on water in the brain and mental fatigue, it's www.waterbenefitshealth.com. Okay. No spaces, just www.waterbenefitshealth.com.
That's one word.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to try this.
Yes,
I haven't had an opportunity to try this yet.
So
I'm really excited.
So what she's talking about is also our Ninja Red is our highly antioxidant drink. It's like the highest antioxidants on the planet right now.
Okay.
The frequency blows you off the chart right now when you're drinking this. And it helps with your cardiovascular, your brain, your eyes. I mean, this thing has a long list, like this long, of what it helps with. Yeah. So just general overall wellness. So yeah, let me show you because I don't think you could see what this is. It's a beautiful Ninja Red bottle, and we're gonna both toast to mental health.
And balance.
And balance, of course. And then also what I want to show you is when you get done with the bottle, it's such a gorgeous bottle.
Yeah.
You want to be able to maybe put some water in here. You can keep it in your car so that there's
it's glass, right?
Yeah, it's glass. You want, you keep these extra bottles on hand with water in your car, and you're not leaving them in the car getting hot, the plastic and leaching toxins. So we are going to each.
I am excited. I mean, I've heard you talk about this since we know, but I haven't tried it yet.
Yes, she said, she started out with a kit that we all start out with, and she says, no, I gave my pouches away.
Well, to my mom. I gave it to my mom. So you had to try it, and she loved it, so I gave it to her mom.
Has tried it, but she hasn't. So,
exactly.
So this is cheers.
Salud. Oh, that's really good. That's really good.
This is from Wolfberries.
Okay.
Her goji berries.
I was going to say it's very berry.
Berries.
Yeah.
Yeah, and berries are also very good for the brain. Mm-hmm. Very good for brain health. So I tell you, I think we've covered a lot here, Alex.
Mm-hmm. I think we have to do another episode.
Thank you. I know. We can't cover everything, but I think you got a lot of information here, and you can do your own research. So this is just the tip of the iceberg here. So I just want to mention next time we get together, it might be another couple weeks. I know I did this every a week from last time, but it'll probably be another couple weeks, and we are going to have a topic of hormones.
Yeah.
Hormones, and hormones play a role with the endocrine system, right? They have key power here in regulating our mood as well. So thank you, Alex.
I had a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. This was so fun. Thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
So, yeah. All right. All right.